Hi, I'm Jenny Eagle, reporter with LEEA, and I'm here with Ben Dobbs, who is the Head of Technical Services for LEEA. Ben, what can members expect to see this year?
There's a lot going on this year, and there will be going on into the coming years as well. At the moment, we're at a significant turning point with respect to legislation on a European level, but this will affect our members globally, well, at least those that are planning to place products onto the EU market. We're at a transition period between the old Machinery Directive and the new Machinery Regulation. Now, the Machinery Regulation will come into force in 2027, but it's been published already now, and people are reviewing it, and we're finding that with some of the new essential health and safety requirements, that we've got some confusion with respect to how to apply these requirements. All legislation is open to interpretation, and we're getting different interpretations. So one of the major things that we're going to be doing, and this starts in the summer of this year, is we're going to rewrite the old guide to the application of the Machinery Directive and make it applicable to the Machinery Regulation. So it's a really good opportunity at the moment for us as a trade association to get into the official guidance, the interpretations and the requirements that we need moving forward, because there was always problems with the old guidance as well, but once it's set in stone, it's set in stone. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's a major task that we've got going on at the moment. And like I say, if you are placing goods on the EU market, you need to be aware of what's happening here. On a standards point of view, the knock-on effect of the Machinery Regulation means that we're revising a lot of standards also. So we are trying to align them to the new essential health and safety requirements. And this is causing a lot of minor revisions to some existing codes, but we've also begun work on some brand new standards and codes for products. So we're starting a new standard on the grade 10 chain, and we've got some new standards to accompany those, which will affect all slings. So it's new grade 10 component standards. And we're dealing with those at a LEEA level at the moment. So LEEA members are getting the chance to produce the first working drafts, which will then be taken to SEN, and we will deal with them as a SEN committee moving forward towards publication of the standards. On an offshore cranes and an offshore operations side of things, there is also a lot of work. We've got 3 new product codes for offshore cranes. We've also got some new standards for the offshore containers and offshore lifting sets associated with those containers. They're ISO EN standards, so they're very global standards. So those are ones to watch out for. We do have the drafts, and members have been invited to contribute to the development of those standards. And at a LEEA level also, we've started the development of a brand new standard, which is offshore cranes inspections. That's nearing its completion, and it'll be submitted first to a British standard, which will be the part of the BS 7121 series, and then it'll be developed further, hopefully towards an EN or maybe an EN ISO standard in the future. So those are some of the key things to watch out for, but we're also dealing with many, many other standards, and I send out to all members, we have a monthly report on standards, which keeps everybody up to date of the activity, where we're at this moment in time, and it gives members the opportunity to have their say on particular items as well, which on behalf of LEEA, I take forward to the various committees worldwide. I hope that adds everything in a nutshell.
And with the new chatbot, is it your team that's behind answering questions that come through on the chatbot service that LEEA launched?
That was my former team. I now head up purely on the standards and legislation side because of the amount of stuff that we have to deal with at the moment. It really is a full-time role. And now it's a struggle to try and get through everything that's coming on. So no, I am now head of global standards and legislation for the association. Our technical services team, which I was formerly head of, they are the people that deal with all inquiries coming in. And the global standards and legislation department, we tend to support them. So we all work together still, but they more focus on the chatbot and any technical queries that the chatbot can't answer. But what will happen is that we are working on new developments in standards and legislation. So as these new technologies come through and as these new working industry practices come through, it's my role now to advise the technical services department so that they are able to answer all questions that are what we call state of the art, so at the forefront of new innovation and technology.
And are there specific questions that keep coming back to you, repetitive questions that people are worried about?
There was, but we seem to be addressing this, and this is how the process works within the chatbot. So we had a spate of problems and issues concerning the UKCA marking, and really when we see these common questions coming in, that's the trigger for LEEA to jump all over it, basically. And we do everything we can. We liaise with government departments and we get the guidance that we need. So what's happened with that one is the questions have now gone, because we do have a response from the government, and kind of aligned to the machinery regulation is that you are allowed to continue using the UKCA marking on the documentation and not the product until 2027. But it's kind of been kicked down the road a little bit further than that. And recently, they've opened this up now to new legislation as well. So the ATEX, which is the explosion categories and things for machinery, that now is also covered by this new requirement that you can mark on the documents as well. So the government proactively listens to trade associations like ourselves, and they adapt the requirements to help us transition and are able to comply.
So important, such a busy period for you. I dare to ask, what's next?
I shouldn't to think, but there is a lot in process. So obviously when things are implemented, then there will be more transition times for people to try and apply them. So we try and do everything generally, but once things go out there, then we find that although it applies to most people, there will be specific problems from specific industries. So that's where we'll be working to help those industries to comply. And if they can't comply for practical reasons or other things that are specific to their working environment, say, then we will take that to the government levels to try and get some concessions or other means of complying with the requirements. Excuse me.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, and good luck.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.